There she is.
Hey, Millie.
Oops, you're mute there.
You're muted.
Oh,
There you go.
good evening.
So Millie, we were just grouping on the plan. So we'll go into public session. And then when we vote to go over to executive, you have a separate link that came from Michelle. Do you have that link? Michelle Silly, do you have that link?
Let me see.
It came on the 14th at 2:35 p.m.
Okay, hold on. 14th, 2:35. Where am I looking? Date. On the 14th at 2:30. Yes, I do.
Okay, so that's what we will go to when it is time, and Attorney Janeski will meet us over there. So Owen, give us a thumbs up when you're ready to roll. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order the Planning Board meeting for September 19th, 2023. I'm Carrie Martinek, Chair of the Planning Board. Before we get started, I have a few announcements to read. This open meeting of the Planning Board is being conducted remotely pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023, an act relative to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency, signed into law on March 29th, 2023. All members of the Planning Board are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The act allows the Planning Board to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. Public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless the chair notes otherwise. Members of the public who wish to view the live stream of this meeting may do so by going to Northborough Remote Meetings on YouTube via the link listed on the agenda. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will not feature public comment. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Amy Pretsky?
Here.
Bill Pierce?
Here.
Anthony Zaitin?
Here.
Millie Milton?
Here.
Staff, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Laurie Connors?
Here.
Ground rules for the meeting. The chair will invite each speaker or applicant on the agenda by name to make a presentation and speak to their application. Participants will provide their full name and hold until their name is called. Each speaker will be asked to mute their phone or computer when not speaking and to speak clearly in a way that helps generate accurate meeting minutes. Those responding will be asked to wait until the floor is yielded to them by the chair. Speakers who wish to respond to the comments of others do so through the chair, taking care to identify themselves. Each vote taken by the board will be conducted by roll call vote. For no public comment tonight, so I won't go through that. There is, however, an executive session this evening. For that, the chair will announce that the board will enter an executive session to discuss the topic and return from executive session only to adjourn or complete the remainder of the agenda. Following a roll call vote, we'll return from executive session only to adjourn. Following a roll call vote, the webinar meeting will be ended. All board members will then leave the webinar meeting and enter the Zoom meeting. So with that, the first item on the agenda is actually our executive session. So this is regarding litigation. I declare that under Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A3, that the purpose of the executive session will be discuss strategy regarding pending litigation, which is the Gutierrez Company versus Northborough Planning Board, Land Court number 21, MISC 000380. Due to the chair's determination that a discussion regarding this matter in open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the litigating position of the board. So at this time, I will ask for a roll call vote to go into executive session. Is there a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, Amy?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
Anthony?
Aye.
Millie?
Aye.
And carries an aye. So at this time, the board will go into executive session. For anyone who's watching or on the line, we will come back into the public meeting. At that time, we have a few other items on the agenda, which is posted online, but also for your convenience, we will be appointing a planning board representative to the traffic committee and cover old business, including an A&R for 145 to 155 Otis Street. Okay, at this time, we will adjourn over to the executive session. Thanks so much. Oh, and are we still streaming, or do we need to reset anything, or are we still good?
We are all still live.
Okay, great. All right, thanks everybody for your patience. We are just missing Amy, it looks like, and we'll continue on with the agenda when she arrives. The next item on the agenda is the appointment of a planning board representative to the traffic committee. Let's see if Amy's having any trouble coming in. Has anyone heard from Amy? Maybe we'll see here.
Nothing yet.
Send her a quick note. Well, she needs the link again. So Jim, do you mind, I'm sorry, Owen, do you mind sending Amy the link to the public hearing meeting? I guess she can't find it.
Yep, no problem.
Great. There she is. Okay, Amy, so we have you here. We just don't have, oops, there you go.
Yeah, I couldn't find the link for some reason.
That's okay. All right, so we're all back. And as I mentioned, the next item on the agenda is the appointment of planning board representative to the traffic committee. So this is the committee run under the Board of Selectmen, where we will have someone representing us here. Is there anybody that is interested in this position on the planning board? Bill. Okay. Is there anyone else interested? Okay, Bill, I think you've been serving on it in general anyway. You've been on the committee.
I was part of the committee to come up with the charter.
Got it.
Nice.
Well, thank you for your work there. Is there a motion to nominate Bill Pierce as the planning board representative on the traffic committee?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor, Anthony,
Aye.
Millie,
Aye.
Amy,
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
And Carrie's an aye. So it's a unanimous appointment. Thanks so much for stepping up for that. I think you'll be
Thank
great.
you, Bill.
So appreciate it. We look forward to no traffic in town with your. Oh, Lori, there's
Except we
something.
want it in the downtown. Congestion in the downtown is
Right.
awesome.
Yeah.
So please don't get rid of the traffic there.
Okay, moving along to A&R. So it looks like we have an A&R for 145, 155 Otis Street. Is that something you are able to share, Lori?
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't have that ready to go, but I can grab it. And Marshall Gould is also here to speak on it.
Oh, okay.
So while you're bringing him in, I will grab that.
Okay, great. Hold on. Oh, and I don't think I'm a co-host anymore when we came back on. I can't seem to bring
Okay.
the Attorney Gould back on. If you, oops, there we go. I'm gonna bring you over. Oops, there we go.
All right, I got it good to go. So I'm just going to share my screen.
Okay, great. And Attorney Gold, are you speaking to this? Is that,
I don't think there's any need. I just represent the property owner, so he
Okay.
couldn't be there. So I said I would just make sure and let him know that it was signed.
oh, okay. Do you want us to move you out of the panel or do you want to stay on?
I'll stay in case you have any questions, but I think it's pretty simple and straightforward.
Okay,
Thank you.
So I can speak to it a little bit. So this is one large parcel of land. So it currently consists of 11.73 acres of land. It is within the Business South District. There are a couple of corners that are also within the Groundwater Protection Overlay District Area 3. So there are two buildings currently on this large parcel. So what they're interested in doing is taking this large parcel and subdividing it into two smaller parcels. The parcels fully comply with the dimensional requirements of the district for Business South. They have sufficient frontage and they also have sufficient access. So I don't see any problems with the endorsement of this A&R.
I have a quick question. From what I'm looking at, is that the parking lot in the middle going through the line? So if you look the line down the center, I see a building to the left and a building to the right.
Yes, Marshall and I talked about this just before this meeting, so I'm going to defer to him to speak to that.
Attorney Gold?
Sure. This is the property where this is up behind Fountainhead and the athletic facility on Notice Street. And right now, the building on the right is primarily one user. The building on the left is Eastern Insurance. And the building on the right has received an offer to purchase. There is no agreement yet. We asked a surveyor to come out and do this. And Amy, that's a good pickup on your part. The lot does go through the middle, and that's the only reason that I'm here. And Laurie and I did discuss it today. There will be a cross parking easement agreement. These buildings have been here for a long time. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, at least since the early 80s. I might be off a few years on that. And they have always shared parking. It's been under one ownership, and it's been a landlord-tenant situation on both properties. So when we go to sell, we obviously need a lot line, and we're going to come out with a cross easement for parking, and there will be what we typically call CAM charges for common area maintenance for maintaining the parking lot, and each person will pay their percentage share. So yes, the lot line does go through. Zoning bylaw does allow that.
Usually, isn't there like a setback though in between? Isn't there like a
No.
buffer between parking
No,
lots?
I'm sorry for interrupting. No, that is not a building. So a parking space does not require setbacks.
Amy, if this were going to be new construction, then certainly there would be a open space buffer requirement for the parking lot. But this is an existing condition. So that is not one of the reasons why you can deny an A&R. Essentially, the only things you can look at is the adequacy of the way, whether the lots have comply with the frontage requirement, and whether there is access from the way to the usable portion of the parcel. So if this were being developed today, then there would be a small buffer, vegetated buffer to the parking lot, but this parking lot exists.
Right. It just seems odd to me because we've never had this happen before. That usually it's the A&R, and then they build on it, and you have to follow all the zoning. So now it's already been built. They're going to cut it in half, but it doesn't have to follow zoning.
Not when it comes to, I mean, there are certain minimum requirements that they have to adhere to for A&R endorsement. And those are the ones that I discussed. The great thing here is that the building complies with the setback requirements. So sometimes that's not the case. And then you create a nonconformity. In this case, we're not creating a nonconformity for the building. So there shouldn't be any problems with this endorsement, in my opinion.
But there's a nonconformity with parking and setbacks.
But that's not something that will negatively impact their ability to get a building permit.
I was wondering, you know, I know we don't have right now, that would be something I would ask a land use lawyer if we had one, you know, before we signed it. I know we only have 21 days, but if,
If you read the ANR statute, you
Mhm.
have to show, as Laurie pointed out earlier, you have to show that you have adequate land area and frontage. And
yes,
in the case of buildings, you have to show that the buildings have their setbacks. Parking is not identified in the statute and in our opinion is not relevant here. And we asked the surveyor whether he's encountered this before. I know I have, but not in Northborough. And Northborough, by the way, does have a shared parking section in the bylaw that does allow shared parking in order to meet minimums. Both of these buildings do meet minimums, and really the operation of the buildings will not change at all from what it has been.
do you have the page of the shared parking? I just want to look that up really quickly.
I don't have it.
It's under
in-
the development regulations.
Right, I
Off-street
actually went through
parking,
it the other day, but I don't know.
off-street parking and loading starts on 7-97.
Okay. I have 791, but I probably have the old book. So there's something about shared parking.
I'll find it. It's on page 7-104. Number 3, shared parking.
I have
But
a
this is
different
not a
page here.
special permit. This is an existing condition, so.
Right, but it just doesn't make sense to me that if it was the other way around, you'd have to meet all the requirements. But since it's developed, we're allowed to cut it in half and you don't have to meet requirements.
Remember that this is an A&R, which means approval not required.
Yeah, I understand. So this will have to go in front of the special permit granting authority
No,
to approve shared
No.
parking?
no, this is not, this is an existing site
Yep,
that was developed, and all they're interested in doing is dividing this large parcel into two lots.
right,
So you can only deny an A&R for those 3 criteria. Does it have sufficient frontage? Does it exist on a road that is passable, essentially? And Otis Street certainly meets that criteria. Can you get from the roadway to the developed or buildable portion of the parcel? That's all you can look at. You can't, even if these parcels didn't meet the minimum lot size requirement, you still can't deny it.
okay,
It's
so
not one of those 3 criteria.
right. And it's usually a new lot. That's why this is confusing, because usually you divide it and then build. This is built
Yeah.
and then you divide it.
I've encountered this many, many times.
Okay,
There are circumstances where, particularly for, condo situations, you may have multiple structures on a lot, and then at some point in the future, they decide that they want to subdivide. And if the parcel is large enough, they can through this A&R process.
okay. I understand what you need to do to approve it, and I will approve it, but I do question that it doesn't fit, it doesn't meet zoning now. Like, usually you you pass an A&R and then you build something that meets zoning. This probably meets zoning as one whole property, but once you split it, it's not meeting our zoning regulations. So I guess that's what's confusing to me.
It is meeting your zoning regulations, but today, so think about it. Chances are there wasn't a buffering requirement back in the 1980s when this property was developed. So there are properties all over town that, you know, may not meet today's standards. So they're considered grandfathered. In this circumstance, you know, the buffering, like an open space buffer
Mhm.
from, you know, the development standards of a parking lot, that's just not something that you can use. Like even the building inspector would consider this perfectly conforming because he's looking at the building. He's looking to see if the building complies with zoning. And then he's looking to see if the parcel complies with zoning. He doesn't care about whether the parking meets the setback requirements of 2023.
Mhm. Did
So
anyone?
that doesn't create a nonconformity.
Okay. Did anyone look back to 1980s or no? To see if it met or it didn't matter.
Like I said, it's irrelevant because it's not one of the 3 reasons you can deny.
Okay.
Any other thoughts or questions about this? Okay, then if there are no further questions, is there a motion to approve endorsement of the A&R for 145, 155 Otis Street? Second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor, Bill,
Aye.
Amy,
Aye.
Millie,
I,
Anthony,
Aye.
and carries an aye. Okay, so that will get signed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The only reason I was on was the shared parking in case the question came up.
And also to show us your living room there, so looking good.
Yeah, well, that's, my beach is the one I prefer, but I'm using my iPad.
All right.
Thank
thanks so much.
you. Bye.
Okay, let's see. I think he's back out. Okay, next on the agenda, any subcommittee updates from anyone? Anthony, is groundwater still functioning? Now that Fred's gone, what's happening with groundwater?
I think if need be, I'm not even certain, to be honest with you.
Okay, did the Attorney General get back on our bylaws, by the way? Because I think that's what we were waiting for. No.
No, we just checked with Andy's office and he thought maybe October timeframe.
Okay. Millie, anything? Oh, Amy, you have, Millie, anything with CPC?
no, I actually wasn't able to attend that meeting, but I haven't watched the video yet either. So
Okay.
I just know that there were no applications up yet.
Okay, Bill,
I was there.
Oh,
There you go.
So it was just an introductory meeting. So of course we were talking about, you know, what might be coming up for the next round of funding. So we were talking about a couple of projects that I had known about and some of the projects that actually we didn't discuss, but there were some projects that didn't get funded last year that may be coming to the forefront again this year. And then we spent quite a bit of time just working through the schedule in deciding if we were going to be meeting in person or via Zoom. So nothing major to report.
Is anything moving along with that Aqueduct Bridge?
Oh, very slow, very slow. They were doing inspections. There was a little bit of a holdup because they need special permission from the MWRA and the 8M permit, the updated 8M permit didn't really give them the permission to do the investigation that they needed. So they were interested in modifying the language of the 8M permit And we haven't heard back whether the new language is acceptable or not. So thank you for reminding me. I need to follow up on that.
It's been, just because it's been talked about. I used to be on open space when I started like 10 years ago. And I think we were talking about the aqueduct bridge. So hopefully it'll move along.
Anything on open space, Bill?
No, they haven't met.
And
I
Amy,
have-
anything design review?
We have the ice cream people coming in front of us Friday. And I brought up talking about the sign bylaw. So, and my idea was maybe go through design review to get a draft sign bylaw, sign and facade updates through the design review, and then bring it forth to the planning board. There are a couple things on master plan implementation committee and that we've talked about, like awnings. Like we have awning signs in town, but they're not allowed in our bylaws. So I was thinking those have to be added to the bylaws. And also window signs. There are window signs all over town, but we don't even allow them in our bylaws. And a lot of towns have them, but it's only like 25% of the window. And so it's things like that that I think we need to update. And then I did a draft quick table that may or may not work. And it was just, and then I sent out to the group the sign bylaw from 2 years ago, just so the design review could look through it and see if there are things they wanted. Even Bob said he would like to consider that wall signs are a percentage of the wall versus 32 square feet is one size fits all. So if you're Wegmans, it's super small and they have to go for a variance. But if you're like Northborough Liquors and you're very small, then it's really big.
Yep.
So a lot of towns have it as a percentage of the wall space. And some towns even have it where your wall and your window sign can't be more than so many square feet or so many percentage. So like the total of all your signs have to, can't be a crazy number. So those are some of the things. And that was just my idea to bring it forth at design review and kind of tweak it and then bring it to us as a planning board.
Okay, so next, the October 3rd agenda, Lori, right now, do we have any applications coming through? So maybe
We
we
do
can
not. Although there will be a duplex application coming probably for the second meeting in October. That's the one that design review already approved on Hudson. So I'm meeting with the attorney tomorrow, I believe.
Okay, so maybe for our
Perfect.
next meeting, we could do a bylaws discussion. Usually this is the time of year we talk about what we want to go to town meeting with. So Amy, I don't know if you'll have anything by then that you want to share, but we can at least get that discussion started because April will come up quickly.
And I can send you what I sent the design review, but that might be a meeting I have to miss. I have a vacation planned that week, but since I broke my foot, I don't know if I'm going. So,
Okay, well, either way, we can start that discussion and then if we
Yep.
continue, we'll just add it. Okay. Okay, any other updates on subcommittees? All right, we have our.
one quick one, MPIC isn't going to meet this month, right? Lori, bumped till October.
Yeah, we've been waiting. The consultant team provided a draft of the downtown revitalization plan, and we had a number of changes. So they are incorporating those changes, and they thought that they would need some additional time. So we'll be meeting in probably the third Thursday in October.
And then ZBA, our next meetings are October 3rd, October 17th. Looks like that MPIC is moving to the third Thursday. And then ZBA, September 26th. Anything on there of interest or?
We have a ton of applications for that meeting. I think maybe 8.
Really?
So the most significant one is the ice cream parlor.
Okay.
Unfortunately, the huge quantity of work associated with ZBA has meant that I've had to put the bylaws on the back burner while I address these issues. So I'm not sure if I'll be ready for the first meeting in October with the MBTA. But I'm hoping for at least the second meeting in October.
Okay,
So yeah, that's the most notable one. The other ones are tiny projects like the spas and a kennel. And so I don't think anything that you'd be interested in commenting on. The 129 Maple Street requested to continue to the meeting in October. So they will be going back to design review first. So they will be on the next, the October agenda.
okay. All right. If there is no further business, then is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second,
Second,
all in favor, Bill,
Aye.
Anthony? No?
Aye.
Aye. Lily,
aye.
Amy,
Aye.
and Carrie's an aye. Okay, meeting adjourned. Have a great night, everyone.